Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are TwinFinity.
We are twin flames in union, and now we are doing our second question and answer video. This is the last day of February, so we're doing our video with still hearts in the background, and next month we'll do something different for March.
Okay, we have a few questions that have come up since our last one, and some of the questions are really long, and I'm going to be editing them down, and other questions are really short, and they deserve a few more words to make them like bigger and better and more complete. So
Bigger.
I'm going to be doing some editing while I'm reading, and hopefully I can keep the questions with at least a little bit of continuity. First question. I was wondering if you could talk about if you address the whole twin concept to family, friends, etc. once you two came back together and got married. My twin and I are from a small town, and we are living in a small, close-knit social circle, and this is hard to navigate. I bet it is. I'll take the first little bit of a run at this answer. I came from a very small family. My family was basically my mom and my dad. I had a lot more friends. I have quite a few friends, and I love them all dearly. And it was really, really hard to explain what I was doing and why I was doing it. So I basically didn't. First of all, in talking about when we got married a year and a half after we got back together. Mm-hmm. So anything that needed to be explained was explained long before then. So the hardest part was trying to justify what was going on as I was leaving my karmic relationship to get back together with Angie after all these years. So I didn't explain anything to do with twin flames to my mom and dad. I don't think that they would have understood. They are good old standard, go to church every Sunday kind of people, both strongly involved in the church from a custodian point of view, from my dad's point of view, and also my mom was part of the church women's groups and being a leader in that. I did not want to mess with their spiritual aspect of things by describing twin flames. My friends, they were already going through enough stress because I was blowing up a relationship that had someone who they generally had learned to like and get along with. And now I was blowing that all apart and potentially getting back together with somebody else. They didn't know that when... Actually, I didn't know that for sure when I was breaking up with my karmic relationship. So I was basically breaking up with a relationship with somebody else who was maybe in the wings, and I didn't describe it any more than that. I just knew that there was enough confusion going on in my life and their lives, trying to understand what was going on in my life without explaining twin flameism. I knew that for those that could have a chance of understanding it, that it would come up eventually in the future. There was a couple of them who I would have readily done so, but most of my friends know each other, and to tell one would be to tell all, and I wasn't ready to explain more than what I was going through.
No. And before I answer the question, I feel like we just kind of dove into the whole question answer thing before we even explained who we are. Our last question and answer was almost 2 hours long, so this one we're trying to manage, so we didn't we're just jumping into it. But I feel like I need to backtrack because some of you may not know us or know anything about us. We've been sharing our story through a series of videos for the last few months, and through that we've had people ask us questions, so we've started doing question and answer videos. So if you have not seen our story videos or are not familiar with us, we met way back in July of 1997 and didn't reconnect or didn't even discover we were twin flames until 2012, reconnected and kind of got into union in November of 2014 was when it
started. It's when we started to come back together.
Yeah.
I was still in a karmic relationship at that point, but it had been weakening, becoming unraveled, and as Angie and I started to discover twin flameism, I knew that relationship had to end, and I didn't know for sure that Angie and I would get back together, but I was certainly enjoying learning why, after all those years, we'd never been able to quote unquote get rid
Yes.
of each other. It
Yes.
just couldn't happen. It was horrifying to have that happen.
Yes, we had this connection that we didn't even understand until I discovered the concept of twin flames. So anyway, in case you don't know anything about us, that's just a quick recap of our story. We didn't get married until literally 20 years from the day we met. We met, as I said, July 25th, 1997, and we got married July 25th of 2017. So now that we've done a little recap, I also wanted to just explain, if you're hearing little bells ringing in the background and trompling, that's just our dog.
Hi, dog.
Gone upstairs to get a different ball to play with while we're doing our video. So if you hear little weird noises in the background, it's just our dog Cookie.
It's way better than locking her in a room and you hear whining and scratching and complaining and begging in the background.
Yes. So now we've covered some bases. I'll answer the question now from my perspective. Just to kind of explain a little bit of what happened with Rob and I and how we ended up getting back together is, in 2012, I discovered the concept of twin flames and didn't do anything with it for a while because we were both in a relationship at that point. We were both with karmic partners, and I didn't want to ruin anybody's lives, so I didn't tell him. I didn't know what to do with this information, so I just sort of left it alone. Finally, in November of 2014, while in meditation, I had been nudged for months, actually, to tell him. And finally, November 9th of 2014, it was like a screaming, tell him. So, actually, it was November 7th that I was told. And I think I told him November 8th or 9th, I can't remember. But finally told him, we started to reconnect. And then in Christmas time of 2014, after we had started reconnecting and started rebuilding a relationship, I was home with my family and finally decided I better tell them what was sort of going on. And thank goodness I was so blessed and am so blessed that my family has been awakening over the last few years. So they were quite open to it. When I shared the concept of twin flames, my two brothers, along with my sister-in-law, already knew a bit about twin flames, and so they weren't surprised. They weren't thinking I was nuts or anything like that. So I was very blessed to have people that understood a little bit about it. My parents, even though they didn't really get it, were still very supportive. They weren't judging me or asking weird questions or doubting me. It was all kind of nice and smooth. So it was quite easy to share it with my family. And friends, I had been talking with a few close friends. In fact, for a year and a half after I had discovered we were twin flames, and before I had told Rob, I had a really close girlfriend that I was going to, and I would take my journals that had a bunch of twin flame stuff in them that I had written years ago without even knowing that we were twin flames. So I would take my journals to her along with stuff I'd find on the internet and go, okay, am I crazy, or does this stuff from the internet match what my journals say? And she would go, no, that makes sense. So I was sharing with her that we were twin flames. She was helping me discover the fact and come to realizations about it. And I also shared it with a few other close friends. So I was very blessed that I had people that were able to kind of understand this. It made it very easy for me. So that's my answer, that yes, I shared it with a few people.
To go back and clarify my answer just a little bit, because I was getting ready to do a surprise breakup, I couldn't really tell anybody about anything, because then it wouldn't have been a surprise and word might have got to my karmic partner long before I was ready to say, hey, it's over. So I couldn't talk to anybody. I just had to clam up and proceed forward with breakup plans.
Yeah, it was very hard for you.
Yep, I had to internalize a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, depending upon your situation, you could have a very open situation with people who are spiritually aware, like Angie had, or you could be in a situation where you are just locked down and it's you and your knowledge, and a bunch of things have to happen before you can start to express some of the reasons of why things are happening around you the way that it is.
It's actually kind of funny. I've never noticed before that it was different for us.
Oh.
Like, it was very opposite. I was sharing with friends and family, and you weren't able to share with anybody.
Nope.
Never really connected with that before now.
Yeah, that'll come out in future videos when we start to talk about when we're coming back together when we get that far through.
Yeah.
Through stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question.
The next question actually links back to the first one. We've already touched on it a little bit. It says, did you also address the twin concept to the karmic partners? And if you did, any tips and advice?
Do you want me to go first on that one, or you go first?
My answer was no. Okay.
And my answer was yes, but not in a way that I would advise other people to do it. But again, every situation is different. So you have to know your own karmic partner and know what you can and can't say. I didn't feel that mine was going to be open to it. We had already sort of split up. We were living amicably as roommates in our house. He was on a different floor than I was. We were sleeping in separate bedrooms on different floors, but still sort of together, but not. So it was a very confusing connection, relationship, whatever you want to call it. So I was seeing Rob without him knowing because I didn't feel like I could tell him. I didn't feel like I could be honest. And looking back, I don't know if I would have changed anything. I probably would have changed a lot of things. But I was scared. I didn't know how to tell him. So I didn't tell him. And he ended up finding out. And when he finally confronted me and asked if he knew who this person was, I said yes.
Yes, or
he'd actually met Rob twice or three times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. We had gone hiking together, which, interesting.
That must have been a very weird day for Angie.
Was very weird.
Mm.
Yeah, it was.
So, yes, I'd had a chance to meet him, but
yeah.
That was also at a time before I knew about TwinFinity's. I was just hiking with those two.
Yes.
As someone who used to know Angie, and oh, hi, you're the karmic partner. Okay, great.
And not that you even knew what a karmic partner was at that point.
No,
you just thought he was
boyfriend,
exactly,
live-in person, significant other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he did find out, Angie had to explain a bunch of things, and including a bit of TwinFinity's apparently.
Yes, because he had known that Rob and I dated many, many years ago. So I just explained that we were twin flames. I didn't give him a lot of details because it was all quite ugly how it all kind of blew up, because I had lied and deceived for a few months. So I just simply said we have a unique connection called twin flames and left it at that. Not the way I would advise that you do it.
As a little sidebar to this, this will also come up in future story videos, because we had phone numbers back and forth. Her karmic partner, after we both had broke up from our karmic partners, our karmics got together and compared notes, and my karmic found out about twin flames from her karmic, and as they kept figuring out what this is all about, and we had just freshly got together ourselves, that's a different part of the story coming up.
Yeah.
Not fun when you're being cross-examined by two people who are comparing notes.
Yeah, and trying to figure out what the heck is a twin flame, and they're trying to understand why we're back together and why we didn't tell them. So, I mean, again, everybody's relationship is different. If you have a karmic partner or a soulmate or whoever you're with that you feel you can be honest with, it's advisable, in our opinion, to just tell them. You don't have to go into great detail of we're the same soul in two bodies or all of that.
I don't know if you'd want to get gushing in front of them about the whole concept and start to get super excited like everything I've been doing in my past life with you, former karmic partner, soon to be, was totally boring in comparison to what I'm looking forward to. Like, don't do that to them. Don't. That's you just looking for a stick of dynamite.
Yeah, I would just really keep things basic. And even with family members, friends, if they're not very open or understanding to this stuff, I wouldn't get into too much detail. I would just simply say we have a unique connection. Say whatever intuitively feels good. Some people say we share a soul. For some people that aren't awake enough, even that's too much information. Others aren't going to understand that. So what I do with people I don't really know or don't feel that know much about spirituality is just say we have a unique spiritual connection. And I leave it at that. Because why explain something that is over other people's head and that's just going to create more questions, more confusion. So go with your own guidance, your own intuition on how to explain it to people.
Okay. Next question?
Yeah. Now I'm all shaking after talking about...
Yeah, I know. It's scary times. Touching on scary times.
It's a soap opera match.
Okay, the next one looks like a little bit of a translation, so I'm going to try to keep it going smooth.
Okay.
On one hand, they say to keep the faith, but on the other hand, they say to let go of expectations in the form of letting go of missing your twin. How can I not miss the person I love so much? I feel like spending time with that person, but articles on the internet say to let go of your need to be with them. I can't get my twin out of my mind. So how can I do that? Please help. That's a hard one to help with. It's keeping the faith, having hope, letting go. Letting go is part of the process, as far as I'm concerned. If you just strangle yourself by completely hanging on with all of your might, because things take time, I think that it sometimes would inhibit a person's ability to continue to grow in other ways if all they're focused on 24/7, 365 is hanging on. We have found so many times in talking with other people that are part of the Twin Flame community and communicating just between ourselves, that it was often when you've partially let go, when you've set aside some of the immediate expectation and allowed room for energies to move about, that's when you sometimes do get a chance to actually do some of your growth while the other person is also not quite bound by your tension and energy. So if you let go enough to allow growth and allow energy to move, but not let go so much that you've given up, because giving up isn't necessarily part of the game either. As much as I had pushed Angie a long ways away, I'd pushed her a safe distance away. I never did completely 100% give up or let go of her. I guess the way I would describe that is she's sort of like the moon whipping around the earth. I was the earth, she was the moon, a safe distance away, not getting too close, but not whipping off into the universe. And there's a time coming, again in our future videos, where she was moving away. And I was terrified because her moving 8 hours away was like removing the last bit of hope, last bit of faith. As much as I only had 2-3% of my thoughts ever still with her, I still needed that faith. But at the same time, I was in a stage of letting go. It was in those times where I was doing my most balanced and growthful work. So to be completely tied in, holding on to the faith with 100%, I don't think so. It's too strangling. To completely let go, I don't think any of us really want to completely let go. Balance.
Yes.
I would recommend more distance than not, but after what Angie and I have been through, completely letting go and giving up, we had tons of reasons. And our story will tell that as it goes on. We had tons of reasons to let go, but because we didn't, there was always a little bit of a road back. There was always room for communication.
Yeah. I think an important word is surrender. It's like ego and soul. ego wants to hang on. Ego wants to have all the answers. Ego wants to have everything figured out and know what the ultimate plan is. When we surrender control, though, and we come to the connection from our soul, then we come to the connection with trust. So we allow the flow and know that there is a bigger picture, there is a divine purpose to everything. So it doesn't mean you're not going to miss your twin. Of course you're going to miss your twin.
Yes.
You are the same energy. You're yearning for that same energy because it's you. It's a piece of you. So you're never not going to miss them fully. At least that's not been our experience. Yeah. Even when we were in separation for many, many years, we still missed each other, which actually we're going to address in another question. But it's when you can come to the point of surrender and knowing that there is a divine plan, that it doesn't mean you have to forget your twin. It doesn't mean you can't think about them. It just means you let go of the attachment, of the control, of the need to have the answers, the need to know what's next. You just allow the flow, if that makes sense. So it's kind of honoring the divine in the whole process and knowing that there's a bigger picture. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It really does. Have to let yourself have the room to still continue on with growth. If you don't have that immediate chance for the relationship to flourish right then, you have to let yourself grow.
Yeah.
Not necessarily go, just grow.
And if you're so focused on them, then you're not focused on yourself, and therefore you're not doing your own growth and your own work because all of your energy is on them. So that's more what, the articles are saying is stop thinking about them in terms of putting all your energy into them and, oh, what are they doing? What are they feeling? What's happening with them? Remove that part and put the energy on you and your own growth, your own work. Because that's how you get to union. You must find wholeness within before you can find a connection with another person. So I think that's what you're maybe referring to when everything is saying stop looking at the other person, stop focusing on them, stop thinking about them. You're never not going to think about them completely because you can't. They're the same energy. How can you not think about the same energy? Because it's you. But the talk is more focus on you and what needs healing within rather than what they're doing and if they're having their own issues. Like some people say, well, if only they would change this, then we'd be together. Well, remember that they are you, so they're mirroring you. So if they need to change something, so do you. So that's where it is becoming about focus on you and what needs healing within.
Okay.
I think that covers everything.
Next question.
Okay.
Next question's got a 3D bent to it. I can sometimes like those. I don't mind the 3D questions.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, Angie, you mentioned that there would be many times when you would reach out to Rob and he would not reply back for weeks.
How rude.
Also, yeah. Also, you noticed when he did it, it was when you were staying self-focused and not waiting for a response.
Hey, doesn't that tie in with the last question?
Yeah.
That.
So, Rob, what was it that held you back from responding?
Yeah.
Well, I had a chance to read that question before we got in front of the monitor, and I found that I could talk about that answer for many, many, many minutes. But there's two aspects about this, especially from my point of view. It's about strength and where you are at in your life. For me, I was in a position of life where my belief system is that when you've let somebody go, you keep them gone. You break up for a reason, you stay apart. Maybe stay in touch distantly, casually, but that's it. You're not going to be doing the bounce back in and out of relationships. I'd always laughed at the Hollywood scene when people we're getting married again for the third time. Like, that almost sounds kind of twin flame-ish. That sounds really ridiculous, but I didn't know what twin flames were back then. But
Yeah.
I never wanted to get in that yo-yo style of a relationship. So when I let Angie go, I had a lot of determination inside of me to stay gone. Not completely gone. I didn't want that. A little bit of me still had room for her to be in my life. But if she reached out to me at a time when, let's say, I was single, not with anybody else, I kind of really had to do a gut check and make sure that I was ready to respond without getting sucked back into that yo-yo that I didn't want to get sucked into. So if I was feeling weak, I wouldn't respond until I was feeling stronger within myself, whether that was an hour, a day, a couple of weeks. Usually about the time she was giving up on an answer, then I would finally get my own strength and feeling good, balanced out enough to respond back. So really, it was about me making sure that I was safe, because I had strong memories of when Angie and I were together, where I was so enamored that I was, where I couldn't control my emotions. Yeah.
Couldn't keep them in check.
Exactly. So all sorts of 3Dism, just for protection basis, when I was single. Now, later on, when I got into a karmic relationship or two, then I've got another bit of, hey, I'm in a relationship. I'm supposed to be supporting this relationship. You're actually a bit of a threat to my stability. And if I get all jumbled up in my head, my karmic could possibly notice. And then that'll be really hard to say, oh, I'm having a bad day for the past month because I've had my brain all screwed up again. So, yeah, when I was with my karmic, I used that relationship to really control whether or not I had any communication with Angie or not. But never did I not want to have communication. It was all about my own protection and whether or not I was feeling safe, whether I was secure in the thought that I could hold the fort, just be in touch, not want to hold hands, not want to share a kiss, which would blow my brain up because that wouldn't be either right or what I needed. But I didn't want to ever be mean. That's not my nature. Some people maybe do have that need to be mean to someone else to push them away. It wasn't my case. I don't like being mean. But it was all about my insides and being all messed up. Spiritually, I knew that there was a connection that I would always love. 3D-wise, I was trying to just have my life without it going upside down. That's my answer.
And I think you've explained that so well, because while he's explained the 3D part of it, there is also the 5D part of it. If you notice in the question, they were saying, well, Angie, it was when you finally surrendered and let go of needing him or wanting him to respond that he would respond. And again, because we're the same energy, he could feel where I was at. He wasn't maybe aware of it.
Not really.
But on higher levels, you could feel, okay, she's centered enough, so I can be centered enough that she's not in a weak place, so I can be strong. So it was almost like you knew on some higher level, even if you weren't conscious of it, you knew that, okay, it's safe to respond now because she's in a solid place.
And to even expand on that, now that Angie's gone that direction, it's triggered a bunch of other memories that I had too. I knew that I could be talking to an Angie that might be fairly 3D, or maybe she would be in a highly, highly spiritual place. I knew of that from when we were together the first time. Mm-hmm. So I also had to be prepared not only to protect myself, but to also find whatever level or style of Angie I was going to be talking to. Not whichever Angie. It's not like there's 14 Angies out there. She's all just one of her, just with a very, very dynamic personality. So I also had to be ready that if she was on some form of deep end when I got into a conversation with her, that I would have the groundedness, the stability to keep things safe for both of us.
That's
I guess
very interesting.
maybe it wasn't all about me. Maybe I had to be ready for anything that Angie was going to throw at me too. So I think I had to prepare a lot, and I don't want to understate how important that was.
Excellent. You covered that one really good, I think.
Okay. Next
You
question.
worn out now?
Okay, nap time. Oh, this question is pointed a little bit towards Angie.
Oh, it's my turn now.
It says, through the years of separation, did you sometimes feel an acute feeling of missing Rob a lot and having a sensation that he did too? Did he describe any feelings, anything like this also in separation? Or was it just a 5D thing, not conscious?
I'm going to answer that similar to how he answered the last question in terms of many years ago when we broke up and then recent years. So many years ago after we broke up, yes, I missed him tremendously. In fact, some of you might relate to this. Emotionally hurt so much that I physically hurt, if that makes sense. It was horrible. It was a horrible missing, yearning, aching, desiring, wanting. But did I know that he was missing me? No, I didn't really have a conscious thought of that. Most of the time I thought he was quite happy to be without me. I thought he had moved on with his life and I was just suffering all by myself. That was in the early years after we broke up. Many, many years later, even after I had moved on with my life and was in other relationships and he was in other relationships, the missing of him was very small and didn't happen frequently, but it still happened. We've always had a connection together with the mountains because that was the very first day we met, was a 17-hour day in the mountains. So anytime I went out to the mountains or drove through them to go to somewhere else, he was on my mind. Not a huge missing him, but still, he was in my thoughts. He could never not be in my thoughts when I went to the mountains. And again, I didn't think he thought of me. I didn't think he missed me. I had no concept of that. I thought he was quite happy in his relationship. One of the, I don't know if it was last communications, but one of the more memorable communications we had before not seeing each other for many years was that he was smitten with this new woman in his life. Yeah, knife through my heart.
Yeah.
So I figured he'd gone on with his life, and it was like, okay, I got to go on with mine. And I mean, I was doing well with going on with my life. But no, I didn't ever think he missed me. I didn't ever think he really even thought about me or cared about our past. That I figured he just put it in the past and he'd moved on.
I feel a need to comment, and I'm going to bear a little bit too much of my soul, but it's for the sake of the answer. This is hard to say. Oh, I feel so embarrassed for me.
I don't even know what you're going to say.
With the thought that I've had probably, 20 girlfriends in my life, some for 1 month, some for 1 year, some for 10 years. Once in a while I would sit back and think about my life. My life was almost always happy. But once in a while I would reminisce about the past. And when I was thinking, the ones that got away, even though I'm happy with where I'm at, Angie would always make the list of the 2 or 3 that I thought, maybe that relationship I should have tried harder or found a better way. The ones that got away, the ones you always dream of in the past, a little bit, wonder what they're up to, always have that curiosity that won't go away. Angie was for sure always one of that very small elite group. And so, again, like she had mentioned, drive through the mountains or go by the old apartment tower where we used to live.
Yes, that one always got me.
All those reminders. I wouldn't want to say that I thought of Angie every day, but I would strongly think of Angie at least a couple times a month where I'd look over at the phone and go, no, that's not my life anymore, and then step on beyond the phone and something else would happen. It'd be time to barbecue something or whatever, and the thought would go away. But
a couple times a month? Really?
Oh, sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even think I had that. No offense, but that's so sweet.
No.
Oh, really?
I love my people. I yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, as I've mentioned before in a previous question, that bridge, that connection was always there. So there's my response to where I was at during those times.
And I just want to share another quick story about how we shared this in our last question and answer video too. I was moving to a different province. I was married. This was many years after Rob and I broke up. I had gotten married and we were moving to a different province. So I was connecting with all of my friends just to say goodbye, and connected with Rob. We hadn't seen each other in probably a couple of years at that point, because you were in your relationship. And
according to my memory, it was a year and a half at least. As we go back through journals, maybe we'll find a little contradiction to that, but
yeah, we'll find out.
But for the sake of this, yeah, it's been about a year and a half, and I was goofy. I was weird that day because Angie was saying, goodbye, I'm moving away, I'm going away, and my girl, who is like the moon whipping around the earth, me being the earth.
That's so cute.
All of a sudden she was going to go ripping out past Pluto on me, and I was scared. There was a bit inside of me that just could not handle that concept. I was like, I hadn't seen her for like a year and a half. Okay, have a good life.
And you didn't know at that point if you'd ever see me again?
I know. I thought she was going to be gone forever, and there was something inside of me that was just screaming murder over this. Like, no, you're not moving away. You were moving away. What? No, it was terrifying to me. So I was cracking a bunch of my crazy little punish jokes all the way through, and we were reminiscing about goofy things that had happened. But she was almost glad to be leaving by the time she was done with that, because she was going, what the heck was wrong with him?
Yeah, I had no clue that he was acting so strange because he was going to miss me and that he was upset that I was moving. I thought he was just, I don't know what I thought. I just was like, what is wrong with you? You're weird, and how did I ever date you? How were we ever together? I totally had that thought.
I wasn't ready to lose that 2% of my life that she still occupied. That 2% of my heart was screaming loud.
So it's interesting to know that our twin does think of us even when we're in separation. We may not know it, but it's clearly for us. It was there on both sides. We still missed each other. We still loved each other. Yeah.
There is a question here which we debated whether we were even going to talk about or not. And I think we should give ourselves like about a 2-minute chance to just...
2 minutes? That's all?
That's all, because
we're going to fail.
This question... Yeah, okay, we're going to probably fail on the 2-minute thing. We're good at failing at the 2-minute thing.
Yeah.
The problem with this question is that there's many different correct answers, because the journey isn't exactly a very narrow road. So here's the question. What is the difference between a twin flame, karmic partner, and a soulmate? Ouch. Ouch. Okay, I'd like to start.
Okay, you start.
My point of view only. We're part of soul groups that we write contracts with each other. We set a plan together, and then we come down to this earth and we learn from each other. We play out what we've agreed to do, what we're going to be teaching each other. And then from that point of view, we then ascend back after our lives are done. A soulmate to me is a very close soul that is part of your soul group. Now, your soulmate sometimes could manifest to be a member of your family. It could be a very close friend. It could be a karmic partner. But it's part of your soul group, a close person that has a very important role in your life. you recognize those people right away. You go, wow, there's just something about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where the soulmate comes from. Now, karmic partners in my world are also someone who is, and Angie and I are going to agree here, they're here to teach you something. You get in a relationship with them that often has many challenges,
Mm-hmm.
and usually just enough positive to keep you hooked on to the next challenge. But the karmic partner is a close soulmate who is very, very important to your learnings here on this planet. Twin flame is the other person that's got the other half of your soul. That's my 2 minutes. Your turn.
Okay, my turn. I'm
not gonna time this.
Okay, that's good, because I might be longer than 2 minutes. So I'm gonna go in the order that the question was asked. Twin flame, how I describe it to people and how I understand it is you're the same soul that has split into two. So that doesn't mean you're half of a soul without your twin flame. You are still your own being, your own person, your own energy. It's not like you are missing a piece of you without your twin flame and you can't function in the world, because clearly, well, we've all functioned without our twin flames for many years before we met them. Yes, we feel like there's a part of me that, I don't know, there's something not right. But it's much like twins in utero that are created from one egg. It's simply one egg that has split into two, and it's two beings. They are still full, complete beings of their own. They're not like they can't survive without each other. So that's, to me, what a twin flame is. You are the same soul, the same energy, split apart, but that doesn't mean you're half a person or a half a soul without the other person. You are still a whole and complete being. In fact, that's part of the journey, is you must find wholeness and balance within yourself before you can come to union with your twin flame. So it's about the same energy, but it doesn't mean that you're not whole on your own. A soulmate, very much like Rob described. I'm only going to add to it for the purpose of the twin flame dynamic and how it all works. Some people, first of all, say that how it works is we meet a soulmate, we have a connection with them, then we meet a karmic partner, and then we meet our twin flame, or we come back into union with our twin flame. I wouldn't get too stuck on that and too hung up on rules. Everybody's journey is different, and there's no two journeys alike. Yes, that's a common pattern, but it doesn't have to be that way for everybody. So I wouldn't be so much focusing on, well, okay, what is this person in my life? Are they a soulmate? Are they a karmic partner? Are they my twin flame? Just play out the relationship. Let it be what it is instead of trying to name it and trying to give it a purpose. Let its purpose develop as it is supposed to, and you'll determine what it is. And maybe it doesn't even have to have a name of one of these three things. Maybe it just is. So I wouldn't focus so much on what it is. But again, just to go back, so a soulmate is in the twin flame realm, usually a partner you have traveled, like Rob said, many times with. You know them very well on a soul level, and when you meet, you just have an instant connection, a very familiar bond. A soulmate relationship is usually just very comfortable, very easy. There's not a lot of challenges. Things kind of run very smoothly in the relationship. Karmic partner, however, is usually quite challenging. And a karmic partner, though, is still a soulmate in terms of in your soul group, they are one of your closest soul friends who has, on the other side, committed and agreed that they're going to challenge you. They are going to make it hard for you so that you can learn from them. They, in my opinion, are one of the greatest blessings, because one of our greatest soul friends that agrees to make our lives hard and challenging for our benefit, how beautiful is that? So some people think your karmic partner is a horrible, mean person. Well, if you look at them from the soul perspective, they're one of your greatest friends. But on the twin flame journey, what their purpose is to challenge us. So karmic partners are usually very challenging. Some people use the word narcissistic. I personally don't buy into that. I don't like the term. In fact, I couldn't even define it. I have read it, I don't know how many times, and it just doesn't resonate so much so that I can't even remember what it is enough to explain it, other than they're usually very egotistical. The relationship is all about them. But again, every relationship is different, so don't so much focus on definitions. But know that if you're with a karmic partner, it usually is very rocky. It's challenging, but bless it and see the benefit in it. For us, we would not be together, and I say this so many times, we would not be together if it weren't for our karmic partners.
There was so much to be learned.
So many gifts they taught us both. For me, with mine, I mean, it wasn't all challenging. He was a beautiful person that I had a very deep love with as well. And I have the deepest honor for him for the challenges that we had because of what he gifted me with, learning to have balance within myself, learning to stand up for myself, learning to know myself. I learned so much in that relationship. So I know I went way past my 2 minutes, and I knew I would, so I knew I'd fail that test right off the bat. But again, don't focus so much on the definitions. Just allow the connection to be what it is. Get the learning out of it, get the lessons out of it, and when the relationship is time to let go of, it will release. So just honor it for whatever it is.
Okay.
Okay, since I've gone past my 2 minutes, we're just going to go to the next one.
Jump to the next question. I'd like to thank you for the term soul friend, like in the part of the soul groups.
That's how I see all of our greatest challenges in relationships, whether they're friendships, enemies.
Every time we discuss something, one of us or the other of us will describe something in a way that just makes it a little bit easier to understand something. These question and answer bits, I know we sometimes look back and forth at each other going, I didn't know that, or hey, that was really good.
Yeah.
Like, wow. We're learning from each other during these videos.
Exactly, we get benefit too.
You just never know what's still lurking undescribed in our minds.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a complicated question, and I'm going to sneak away for a moment while we're answering the next two questions, see if I can get the complicated question straightened out before I actually introduce it into the video. So, this isn't any easier, but it is easier to say. Do you know of any TFs with a considerable age difference of, let's say, 20 plus years, especially with the DF being the older one? No, I don't. But there's many TF relationships out there, and I wish I knew more of them. But meeting other twin flame couples is sometimes a little bit of a challenge because it feels like we're spread out so far apart all over the world.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, there's probably hundreds of twin flame couples in union all around, like even closer than we believe, but we feel like we're spread out so far that we don't have a chance to really get to know each other. So no, I don't know of any that have that much of an age difference. But what I do want to say is that in comparing notes before we decided we were going to challenge this question, was we've both had karmic partners that were 16 years older than us. Mm-hmm. So I've had the older lady, she's had the significantly older guy. And 16 years difference. Yeah. And Angie is 10 years younger than me. So if I add the over-under together, I've had a 26-year age range over or younger than myself in my life as for at least a little while, stable relationships. So I sometimes wonder whether or not those relationships were preparing us for our 10-year difference. Because it really taught me that there's nothing to be afraid of.
No.
And so the age difference concerns that some people have, must be within 3 years, usually the guy, the slightly older one. Yeah, if it's important to you, great. But if you've grown in a way to which it's not important, don't be afraid of it either.
Yeah. And I would answer very similar to Rob in that I don't personally know any with that great of an age difference. Though I know in the Twin Flame groups on Facebook, there's lots of people that post about ages. That's a question that so many people like to ask, and then everybody answers and shares their different ages. And there have been some with huge age differences, 20 plus years. So yes, there are others, and in fact, if you are another that's got an age difference that want to answer this question, feel free, in the groups that we're going to share this video in or on YouTube, if you want to answer, feel free to, so that this person asking the question has somebody else that they can sort of chat with. Also, just to explain the DF, for some people that may not know, that means the Divine Feminine. I know in the group some people are like, what's DF? What's DM? So Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine.
Somebody ought to post a whole glossary of acronyms.
Totally. All the DF, or the Twin Flame terms that we come up with.
50 years ago, acronyms were for the military. But now we've got so many different acronyms for everything that people can say a whole sentence full of acronyms, and someone else would have no idea what they were even talking about, let alone what the acronym really meant. Wouldn't be able to even pick the topic. So, yeah, I sometimes struggle with that because I don't spend as much time on the internet as Angie does. And we won't talk about percentages because, it's embarrassing. But
I just wanted to add one more thing on this.
Oh, and so did I. You first.
Okay. I wanted to say, though, if you do have a huge age difference, and especially if you're the feminine, who is the older one, remember that we as Twin Flames have all come in with our own challenges because we're here to break old templates. So you are obviously here to break the template of there being a problem with age differences. Some have come in being the same sex Twin Flames. Some have come with huge religious differences. Some have come with
the cultural differences.
Yes, cultural differences. Physical apart, like halfway across the world kinds of things. So we've all come with our own challenges so that we can break old patterns and old templates of the world saying, well, a relationship must look this way and this way only. Because one of the old templates is the guy must be older, or at least you have to be the same age. For the woman to be older, oh, that's bad. For the woman to be 20 years older, oh, that's really bad. We're here to break those kinds of things.
Those templates started centuries ago when the guy had to be old enough to have established himself in a life and have established a bit of wealth so that he could support a family. Mm-hmm. Talk about going back a millennia or two or three.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wanted to add something?
I did. Age differences. Sometimes, well, let's say the guy is 20 years older and not in near as good health as the younger girl. Are you, with the thought that maybe you're only going to spend 20 years together before he gets too old and dies, are you going to let that stand in the way of a 20-year fantastic relationship? Mm. Or are you going to try to hope that your twin flame is of the same age of you and you both meet when you're really young and have 50 years together? I believe that whether it's a relationship that can only last 10 years because that's as long as the soul decides to stay on the planet, or whether it's 50 years, it's all still a blessing. So the age difference shouldn't override the thought that the relationship itself is a blessing.
Yes. And that's just triggered another response for me, is that souls don't know age. Yes, our physical bodies know age, but our souls...
Remember time, age, it means nothing.
Exactly.
To the divine world. Mm.
Yeah.
We pick on that one a lot.
Because you're the same soul, you're the same energy, your souls are the same. So it doesn't matter what age difference and age gap you might have and who's older and who's younger. I know in our society it might not feel like that because our society has rules of how it should be. But again, we're not here to fit into society. We're here to break the molds of society and create a new way of thinking.
All right.
Are you ready to brace your other question now?
Nope. I'm going to go move on. I've just about got it figured out.
Okay. You're funny. Oh. I give him the job of reading the questions.
The question is, will you consider doing a video about how you handled the separation, especially when the other twin went off to be in a relationship with someone else? Yeah, there's going to be quite a few videos about how when we were in completely different relationships that were supposed to be committed and could have lasted a lifetime. So yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about that. I don't think we're going to do an individual video just on that. But I can kind of tell from the way the question was asked that the person who asked the question is probably seeing their other twin getting deeper and deeper into a relationship, not with them. How do you handle that, especially if you're not ready to let go? When we went off and moved into our karmic relationships, we had already been apart for a while. We'd already established that we weren't in a relationship at that time. We had already moved apart and then moved into other relationships, which means I don't have a chance to have personally said that I've experienced the Angie moving on to another relationship when I'm still ready to completely hang on. So, wow, how do you handle that?
Challenging.
Yeah, it's just an unfortunate timing.
Yeah. It was very hard for me.
I wish I could actually answer that question from personal experience, but I can't. I feel bad for people who are going through that, and there seems to be a lot of them. Ouch.
What part can't you answer personally?
The part about wanting to be with the twin flame, but the twin flame is moving on to another relationship.
Oh, like when you know your twin flames.
Yeah, when you know.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we were lucky that way because we didn't know.
We didn't know.
Although I had been told by my angels that we had a very unique a very unique relationship. But I was kind of told or understood it way back then as soulmates. But I was also told we had a mission. And when we broke up and had moved on, I was quite frankly devastated because I thought, well, now I can't complete my mission. I can't complete what I'm supposed to do. So while I didn't know the twin flame dynamic or understand any of that, I still understood that we had a unique relationship. And I was absolutely devastated to think that we weren't going to be together and it was never going to happen. I felt like I had failed at this life, like I had failed at my whole purpose of being here. So it was very hard. When he went off on another relationship, the one where we had dinner and he told me he was smitten.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurt. I've just defined it many times before. It was like a knife going right through my heart, and it's like, why don't you twist it a little more? You couldn't just say you were happy. You had to say you're smitten. I'll never forget that word.
I think I was trying to smooth things over by using a gentle word like smitten. I had no idea that was not a gentle word.
No.
So Angie does have that personal experience of hi, I'm headed in a different direction and I'm happy to be doing so.
Yeah, I could see he was glowing. He was so happy.
I feel so bad for Angie. But at the time I was feeling kind of happy for me.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I understand. It's hard. It hurts your heart. It breaks your heart. It's devastating. But what I can tell you is, again, like we started the whole video, is trust the process. Because look at us. We've moved apart from each other. I shouldn't say but I've gotten married. I've gotten divorced. I've moved back. You have no idea where this journey will take you. Your soul has a plan, even though it might not feel like it does. We've shared in our last question and answer video how you are trying to see this as a straight road path, that, okay, the path is supposed to just lead straight to my twin flame, but instead you weave all over the place before you end up back where you want to be. Part of the journey.
I think I need to say that we did not have anywhere near a straight road. We were all over the place.
Completely all over the place.
We were blown apart by what felt like, oh, here comes that word again, dynamite. We were pushed apart by other forces. We chose to be apart by other bits. Life took us 8 hours apart. Everything seemed to happen. Mm-hmm. And from what feedback we get from people, I would say that it seems like 90% of people out there are going through similar huge challenges of everything from emotionality to geography, to spiritual differences to 3D differences to employment differences. There is just challenges that you could link them all together and have 100 of them. Yeah. Different examples of ways that people are just pushed apart so far that you couldn't believe that they would ever get back together. But there are, screen went blank. But there are just,
there we are.
Yeah, we're back. Every so often our screen just
our
goes
computer
blank.
Decides it's done, but we're still here.
We're not done. But anyway, just to finish that off, yeah, there's the amount of ways that you can be pushed apart it's almost immeasurable. We're learning new ways all the time, and yet people are getting together. We're hearing of success stories from people who thought that they were way far gone, and they sounded like we were even pushed apart even further than what Angie and I were, and they are still managing to find their way back. So it's happening out there, and it's surprising, but at the same time, we're hearing enough of it that it just, the surprise bleeds away to just happiness. Whenever we hear, hey, we got together, wow, you really did. That's amazing. So.
And yeah, on that note, know that the impossible is possible. That's another thing we are here to do as Twin Flames, is to break the template that, oh my God, this is never going to happen. This is impossible. The impossible is what we're here to change. I mean, did I ever think that I would be doing videos with this man? Okay, first of all, never mind this man. Did I ever think I'd be doing videos myself? I am a very quiet, shy kind of person. I'm not one to be out in the public. And he never used to be spiritual in terms of like...
If I ever did videos, I would be doing videos about touring the Rocky Mountains or yeah. or going whitewater kayaking or whatever. That'd be the more things I'd be doing.
Weightlifting.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. How to crank weights in 15 minutes a day. Yeah, that'd be more my style.
Yeah.
From years ago, but no, here I am. Anything can happen.
Exactly.
Sometimes it does.
Yes. So it's about having faith.
The last question.
Okay, are we ready?
No.
Okay.
This question, this.
You can wing it. It's good.
I've almost got to rebuild this whole question and throw away the piece of paper. Someone's done a really good job of taking two paragraphs and ramming them together into one sentence that doesn't have a period or a comma in it whatsoever. So it's actually a great question because it's very, very honest. It's how a person would think the question.
Okay.
One comment is, holy cow, I'm going through all of this stuff and I feel like I'm dying. I just don't know how to explain it. But I don't feel like my twin flame hasn't had to go through anything. But I'm just wondering why it feels like I'm the one that has to do all of this. And will he ever be where he's supposed to be? It's super frustrating. I don't know how you two ever did it for so long.
I don't know either.
Okay. First thing, I was gonna go all video without picking apart a poor question, but I'm gonna say this. And will he ever be where he's supposed to be? We are all where we are supposed to be. It's just sometimes we're not where we want someone to be.
Yeah.
That's...
Your twin is exactly where they're supposed to be. They may not be where you want them to be, though.
And by the way, congratulations for saying that I know I'm not dying. No, you're not dying. You're just in a lot of pain.
Although, in a sense, there is a part of you that's dying. Your ego is dying.
Yes.
That's part of this journey, is the dark nights of the soul, is we have to die to the old ways of ourselves. So yes, if you feel like you're dying, it's because in a sense you are.
And another bit about this question that I really like is, I don't feel like my twin flame hasn't had to go through anything. Great empathy. I love that. Usually your twin, as much as they're ignoring you or trying not to be in contact or remaining very distant, if they're even slightly in touch with you, that means that you're on their mind, and somewhere along the line they are going through something. That's a good point to really, really understand.
Yeah. If I can also just say, though, even if they aren't in touch with you, it doesn't mean they're not on your mind, much like our experiences many years ago.
It does seem very much like there is one of the twins that is carrying 90% of the burden. I'll call it a 90-10. There's two twins who would actually be suffering the burden 50-50 would probably be getting together. It's when the burden seems to be a lot closer to being even that they get in touch and they are at a similar level of stress is a bad word. A similar level of stress about not being together. If they're both equally balanced in that understanding of they're both equally hurting, that's when they have a chance to get back together. It almost feels like when you're in the 90-10 that the 10 person is needing to grow more towards the balance, and the 90 person probably has a bunch of healing to do so that they can not be quite so stressed over the imbalance or the apparent imbalance in the efforts of being twin flames. It always feels like one is doing all the learning and all the growth and all the understanding and all the communicating and all the asking and all the begging and pleading, if that's how your relationship is with your twin. And the other one is just sitting back and having
their
having good old life. Boy, we hear of that one a lot in comments.
In fact, I would like to comment on that because I felt that way. When I, back in 2012, discovered the whole twin flame concept and realized what it was all about and how it worked, I examined my life versus his life, and quite frankly, I was pissed off. I really was. Because I thought, how come I'm doing all this work? Just from our story videos, I was actually looking for a picture. I was just sharing in our story videos that I've been hunting for this picture and I haven't been able to find it. But in the meantime, I have found so many other things, and some of them have been all of the work that I have done. I have done counseling with many different counselors. I've done workshops and groups and classes and courses, and I have done so much depth work on myself over the years. Well, Rob's been out climbing mountains.
I've been climbing mountains and kayaking and racing my bikes and taking world trips time and time over again. Going to Turkey, going to Greece and Italy, and socializing 30 times a year with large groups of people. I've had a life that 90% of the people, no, sorry, I say this often, 95% of the people in the world would love to have had my life. I haven't had a huge abundance of money, but I've had enough to let me experience many, many, many things. So, I've been out having the la-di-da great life while she's been sweating and fretting and growing
like a dog,
struggling to learn all this stuff. And
heal and grow and change and examine this and fix that.
But as for what's going to come out in the videos, the touring around to other cultures of the world and spending time with other religious groups different than my own basic religion, there was a lot of growth that was going on there too, seeing how other people live in the world, seeing what their family values are like, their religious values are like, their country values are like. Seeing all those different things was also very growthful for me and has allowed me to, as an example, understand that you can come from anywhere in the world, any culture, any religion, and still be a twin flame. It's allowed me to have those growths. So the style of growth that I was doing, having my la-di-da life, was not necessarily totally focused on being a twin flame, but it was focused very much on allowing me to learn how to accept twin flameism when Angie eventually expressed it to me. I was then able to fit it in with all the other tolerances that I had learned in my life. So the la-di-daism was also very educational. And if I hadn't had that, I don't know if I'd be able to be here right now.
And that's the important thing, is to know that your twin is doing their own work, even if you don't see it, even if on the outside it just looks like they have this easy life while you're doing all the legwork, or you feel like you're doing all the legwork. They are doing their own growth and their own healing in their own way. So have faith in knowing that because you're the same energy, when you put effort into you, you're also helping them put effort into themselves, because you feel each other and you grow together. Another piece, though, is that, sorry, I have a leg cramp, so I gotta move. Another piece to remember is that even though you're the same energy, the same soul, you have lived different lives and had different experiences. So one of you may have more karma than the other. One of you may have more work to do. For example, with us, we've been sharing in our story videos that I discovered many years ago through channeling with angels that I had committed suicide in multiple past lives. So what that meant was I had a lot of karma. I had a lot of people that I didn't...
A lot of souls.
Yes. That I didn't help serve because we all make contracts with soul friends before we come here. And I broke contracts because I left my life before I was supposed to, leaving them sort of in a lurch of, well, now I can't learn my lesson because you weren't here to help me with it. So I had a lot of work to do on myself because I had a lot of karma. Rob, however, completed his lives. He didn't commit suicide and chicken out like I did in the previous ones.
I died in a few military lives. I get that from my dreams.
But you died naturally. You didn't.
No.
You didn't leave before it was your time.
No. Didn't shoot myself in the foot and bleed out.
No.
No.
So know that there's many reasons why it may appear that one of you is doing more work than the other. And sometimes you are, but it's for a good reason. It's not that one just has the party life.
One moment. 1:11:11.
Good catch.
Okay, there's the time of the video. Sorry.
Nice catch. So just know again that everything is in divine order. Even when it doesn't look like it, even when it seems like things are not flowing as they should, there's always a higher purpose to what is happening. Now, that was the last of our questions, but I have a surprise question that I want to ask. And it kind of ties in with this.
Oh, good. No, good.
Most of the divine feminines want to understand how does the masculine, how they see these masculines and they're like, they're never going to get it. They're just never going to wake up. They're never going to understand this whole twin flame thing. How did you get from where we were 20 years ago when you couldn't even handle me fluffing your plant's aura to get to here doing videos about twin flames? Can you give people some hope? Because they're all like, how's my twin flame? This is never going to happen. I don't see this. I didn't see it. I had no hope either.
Well, for me, my journey after we went into separation, my journey constantly educated me, through that la-di-da life I was living.
Yes.
It kept on reminding me of times in my past when I couldn't handle something, but yet I had just learned through other experiences that, maybe what Angie was doing years and years ago, I relate to that. I've seen that before. That was something that Angie did, be it Reiki or learning more about chakras or someone else talking about angel experiences. I kept on coming across times where I was learning about stuff that I really wish I had known back when I had met Angie the first time. And fast forwarding through all those little educational bits, all of a sudden Angie gets back in touch with me and says that she has an explanation for all this connection that we used to have. It just, I was ready to figure out why I could never get her out of my life and why things kept on happening in my life that would keep on reminding me of her. Whether it was things 2 weeks apart or 6 months apart, the parallels just kept on happening and happening and happening. It was starting to become a curiosity of my own. Then she gets in touch with me and says, hey, guess what? There's something called Twin Flames, and this is what it's about. And I'm going, well, now I get it. Well, it wasn't a light bulb. It was like a bank of light bulbs, like at a football stadium. Plunk, that's the size of light bulb that came on over and above me. And then I've been able to learn a little bit more and settle down with the thoughts. So that is what had happened to me in a nutshell over 17 years of separation. Okay, of not being exactly together. We weren't exactly totally separated either for a lot of it, but still, that is how I went from being where I was to where we were back in touch and understanding that we were twin flames. is life didn't back off educating me. It kept on reminding me, kept on giving me more clues, kept on keeping my curiosity going. Other people had drifted into the past. Their purpose in my life was obviously done. Angie just was not leaving.
And your karmic partner, let's be honest, you learned a lot from her. She really helped you grow.
Yes.
And that's why I so often say, like when people are like, oh, my twin has gone off with this other person. Great, celebrate it. Be happy about it because, oh my God, they're going to learn and they're going to grow.
In my case, I'd gone to school.
Yes.
Yep. Someone said, hi, you're going to hang out with me for 12 years and you're going to learn a lot. That's not how the relationship started, but that's what it turned into. It turned into a giant, huge education. Step by step by step, pushing my boundaries further and further out. The ones that I'd kept tight inside of me, no, this can't really be real. That's for other people, not for me. All of a sudden, I had boundaries that were quite wide around me, and when Angie came back into my life with both feet, she fit. There was room. There was understanding. Growth had happened. That's awesome. That's A to B.
And by the way, I did not tell him I was going to ask this question. I just sort of sprung it on him, and you answered it beautifully. And that's so perfect because that's the whole thing is we're both growing. Even though you don't see the growth or you may not think your twin is growing, they are growing just as much as you are.
And if Angie would have asked me 3 or 4 years before she actually did, if I was ready to hear about why we can't get rid of our connection. Even 3 or 4 years before then, when I'd been in a karmic relationship at that point for 8 years, it would have been too soon.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready yet. Yeah. And she had no way of knowing it. And I didn't really, as much as things reminded me of Angie, it didn't make me want to get back together with Angie, but it did make me curious as to why the relationship was never going to end. I'd actually kind of resigned myself to the thought that she would always be in my life in the background somewhere. But still, I had no thoughts of getting back together and getting married and doing videos.
No, we neither had thoughts of doing videos.
No. But I think I've answered that one. I think I beat that one to death.
Yeah, well done.
And we'll have other chances to explain it, probably slightly differently.
Yes.
It'll come up in future story videos too, because I'll have to explain that, what was really going on.
So that is the last of our questions. It's been our goal and our attempt to do a question and answer every month. So we will do another one. We'll kind of either just go with once we build up enough questions, or we'll post on our TwinFinity page on Facebook when we're looking for more questions. Either way, however it works, we will definitely do another question and answer video in the next month or so.
Okay. I agree. These are kind of fun.
Yeah, they are.
I really have enjoyed this.
Yeah. So thanks for connecting with us, and we look forward to connecting again in the next, hopefully, month. Till then, we love you guys, and take care.
Have a good night. Have a good month.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.